The irony of Jess Hilarious calling the Breakfast Club a high school, as if we didn't know that already. Sister, if the Breakfast Club is a high school, you are the bully that should have graduated 2 years before. Let's talk about it.
Y'all already know what time it is. I got the black V-neck on.
What's going on, you all? We got to talk about this mess with Jess Hilarious and the Breakfast Club. We saw this coming from the comments. We knew something was up. A lot of folks who have been watching the Breakfast Club saw the comments and knew something wasn't right. You had a couple of clips on Twitter going viral on social media of Jess telling Lauren to be quiet. And even during the interview with Wendy Williams, Jess was scrolling on her phone. A lot of fans were saying that she had been checked out and she does not want to be there. As much as we don't want to consider the internet being a real place, it is very much a real place. And the Breakfast Club should know that because the internet is keeping them paid, if we're being honest. Like the internet, all the things that happen online, y'all talk about. So the internet is a real place. And what Jess Hilarious, which is so ironic, what she is experiencing, because I think calling it a high school doesn't really name what is really happening. And Jess Hilarious thought she was one of the boys. She thought she was one of the boys. And now she's finding out, as much as she has talked about being a biological woman, this is what it is. You thought that you having some of these ideas that kind of match these men, you're still a woman at the end of the day. You're still a woman. And this would have never happened to Jess Hilarious had she been a man. If she was a man, she would have never experienced this. They play in her face. And we're going to talk about, because y'all know I am not the biggest fan of Jess Hilarious. She has said some very questionable things, some very disgusting things. Their situation on the plane when she made fun of that person because of their religious beliefs and thought they were somebody else. And she was just like, that whole situation was just disgusting. She is engaged in several transphobic conversations online, offline. I'm just not a fan of her. I'm just not a fan. And I'm not featuring her, but that doesn't take away from what is really happening with her. And it is clear misogyny. The fact that Jess Hilarious is coming in after Angela Yee, who was really the glue that held the Breakfast Club together. And we're seeing how she left and how big of a hole it takes to fill her. Like, it has taken two people to replace Angela Yee. Like, that's to be completely honest. Like, Angela Yee was extremely talented. She had to know all of the information. She had to be informed. She took her job very serious. And it is a high school because you have Charlemagne. Charlemagne is usually only interested or hyper fixated on things that he is interested in. It's not coming off as a journalist. Like, if it's not something he is interested in, he's not going to be featuring it. Versus a Lauren or Angela Yee, they're a little bit more, hey, I'm going to do the research. I might not be as invested, but I want to make sure that I'm doing my work as a journalist, like a journalist first. And that is something that Lauren and Angela Yee have done, are currently doing. Now, Angela Yee had done some questionable things. K. Michelle clocked her on some stuff and participated in that. But even then, Angela Yee was a victim of sitting next to two men. Like, we've seen how Charlemagne has talked about certain things. We've seen him disrespect trans folks on the show. We've seen him make fun of stuff. We like, it's no surprise there. DJ Envy might not, but he doesn't stop the stuff. What I have enjoyed about Lauren, when some stuff happens, when there was some questionable things happening, like I think it was a report about Chris Brown, Lauren was like explaining. She didn't get caught up in it, but she was advocating for black women who are not interested in Chris Brown. She was advocating for the very few folks who have a politic around these things, who probably still listen to the Breakfast Club. I'm going to be honest. The work I do listen to the Breakfast Club every once in a while to get information or know what's going on. Like, I don't listen to them every episode or everything, but I do enjoy Lauren when she speaks. And when Jess started to speak and say stuff, I turn it off because a lot of the things she says is just not even informed. She just sounds ignorant. And we've seen that several times. So let's go back because we got a lot to discuss in this situation. Jess Hilarious came on to the Breakfast Club to fill in for Angela Yee after Angela Yee left. Apparently, she had already announced that she was going to be on the Breakfast Club before the Breakfast Club made the announcement. Apparently, iHeartRadio wasn't featuring that. They played in her face a little bit, brought her on. And I, for one, was not a fan but I felt like she fit in of what was going on. I didn't feel like that she was the person that was Angela Yee. She wasn't feeling that, but she was on the similar playful, chaotic, uninformed. Like, I knew that was what it was giving. Like, they have went all the way off the rails, and it's just, hey, misinformation. It doesn't have to be accurate. We just in here kikiing and talking. That's what I took. So I was not listening to it. I was not interested in the reports. I only came back to listen to it because of Lauren, and Lauren being informed and talking about things that other folks might not discuss. And on this syndicated publication. So a couple of months into the job, Jess Hilarious got pregnant and she went on maternity leave. And y'all know how it is for women, period, going on maternity leave. It is shunned upon. They're going to give it to you, some jobs, but they're going to look at you like, There is not a doubt, a known thing that a woman in her career is not supposed, like in the beginning stages of her career, doing something to this effect, cannot get pregnant. Seeing Cardi B perform on stage and being pregnant, that was a moment, because you don't really see that happening with female artists of any kind. Like, it does not happen. When female artists get pregnant back in the 90s and the early 2000s, like, you're done. You're done. Like, you cannot do anything else. Like, you're finished. So for Cardi B to do that was iconic. So we understand and we know the culture around women being in certain fields and certain parts of their career and getting pregnant. So her doing that, I wouldn't be surprised if it ticked them off. Like, we brought you on and 2-3 months, you're already pregnant. Like, we gave you an opportunity. We tolerated you, even though they picked her. They picked you. They picked Jess Hilarious to be a part of this. And now it's like, we tolerated you. How dare you go and get pregnant? So if you believed in her and you supported her, even if she did get pregnant or whatever, so be it. Like, that's what it is. Like, find a way for her to work. Find a way for her to do this work. I'm not understanding. We need to be doing, like, when we talk about equal things, we need to be making it work. And if she says she can't do that because of whatever reasons, because she is pregnant, then make accommodations for her, period. Like, that's what should be happening. I'm not understanding that. So I'm already knowing what that was looking like for her being pregnant. The Breakfast Club and the powers that be probably were not interested in that. So we go on and we get Lauren. They had a couple of folks fill in, but Lauren came in, she was something special. Lauren, if you are watching this, and I hope you are a very talented Black woman. Like, I'm sure you already know that, but sister, the way you have owned this, the way you have just been so professional, and y'all know how I am about respectability politics, but I also recognize how hard it is for a Black woman experiencing all of these things, like people saying this and people saying that, the comments, because I don't think it's necessarily just pinning two women against each other. This should have been taken care of from the production side, behind the scenes. It should have never been done like this. So Lauren was doing a good job. I don't blame them for bringing Lauren in, but apparently they had a conversation about what was supposed to be happening. They didn't say specifically what was happening and what was supposed to. Jess didn't mention that in her live stream that she did the previous night. She didn't mention that, but I'm wondering, did they have a conversation? They said, hey, when you come back, Lauren will not be on the show anymore. Like, she will go back and do the production work behind the scenes. That was not said verbatim out of their mouths. And I'm wondering, like, what was said in the conversation, because Jess said she did have a conversation with production and she wasn't supposed to be there, but she didn't say it. She didn't define it, because if I come back and this is happening, I'm like, okay, girl, what is, like, we need to, hey, we can film today, but like next week I need her to be going. Like, I need for her to be going, because my understanding was supposed to be 3 people. And she probably cannot say that. She probably didn't feel like she could, because again, she is a Black woman in the industry. They're not really taking her serious. They're tolerating her. This is my issue. And I hate to jump the gun a little bit. This is my issue with you, Jess Hilarious, because right now in this moment, all of the idiots you have said over the years, all the stupid shit you have said, all the transphobic stuff, I've watched you say something. And right now in this moment, I am defending you. And I'm not doing it just because of you, because you don't deserve it. What I'm doing is I'm doing this because I believe black women and women should not be treated like this, point blank, period. And considering how much you need us right now, because all these men who were rooting for you are not naming what's going on. They're blaming Lauren. And Lauren is not the issue here. Lauren is not the issue right now. It's bigger than Lauren. She's a victim of this too, because if you leave this show and you don't come back, you decide to quit, it's going to look bad on Lauren if she continues this show, because she will now be the black woman. She will now be the woman that got her fired. So now she will have to wear that jacket. But we've seen DJ Envy be around folks who scam folks out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've seen Charlamagne say some of the stupidest stuff over the last couple of years, and he's still solidified in his position. And they didn't even think enough of you, because they was okay with you saying all this other stupid stuff and you being an R apologist. They was okay for everything when it benefited them. When it came to benefiting you as a black woman, they gave you absolutely nothing. And you should be thinking about that. When we talk about these things, and I'm getting emotional because I'm pissed off, because y'all do this thing where it doesn't matter to you until it needs to matter. And we cannot be like that. If we are talking about these things, it's because it's serious. And y'all don't see that, because what you are experiencing is not Lauren's fault. Them folks played in your face because you are a woman, point blank, period. That's what they did. Because had you been a man, they would have did DJ Envy like that. They probably would have stopped the show for a second. They would have did Charlamagne like that. They would have did neither one of them like that. You are just as equal. You're supposed to be just as equal as them. I get that this is TV, a little bit live, and we got to keep the fun part in so it don't come off too bad. You are emotional in this moment, and your wig was cocked. Like I can tell that you were going through it. And these men laughed. Charlamagne did not take you serious, even in your emotional state. They gave you absolutely nothing. And you should be thinking about that. Because it was okay when it was cute and all when everybody else was experiencing, but now you're experiencing. I don't understand. It's like y'all play with snakes and lay up with them, and you think you a snake, and then they feel, no, girl, you a female snake. You might be a snake, but you a female snake. So you got to go. So all this stuff that you've been talking about, like, look at it now coming to bite you in your wig, sister. You look a fool. You look a fool now, and I mean that. So it's not Lauren's fault. When she came back from maternity leave, it should have been understood that she wasn't coming back. But the other issue here, and why the comments got to Jess hilarious, is because she's deeply insecure about her position. And it's not just her fault. It's also how she has been treated. They have not taken her serious. iHeart played in her face when she was excited because she said she really wanted this moment. I really need this. She really wanted this moment. And they played with her throughout the whole entire process. So her naming all of these things is not coming out of nowhere, because she probably has been feeling like this from the beginning. To hear Jess Hilarious try to say that the folks were not coming and saying anything bad about Jess with the mess, they didn't have no issues with it until Lauren came, because she was reading right. No, sister, they was eating you up in the comments while you were doing Jess with the mess. When you was messing up and misquoting stuff and not knowing how to pronounce words and stuff, I remember seeing them, because folks would send it to me like, girl, it would be clips. I would be watching it sometime, and I was like, girl, like, it is what it is. I didn't take you serious because, one, you're not a journalist. If we get into some other things, you're not a journalist. Not saying that you can't be. Not saying that you can't be. Like, yes, you have an internet persona and all of that. And screw what Malcolm said. Screw what Malcolm Home, whatever his name is, said, because I'm finna do him like he did Lauren. Because even in this moment, Malcolm don't even care about Jess Hilarious not being talented enough. He didn't even know Lauren's name to even mention her in this clip, in this podcast. How you gonna get up here and talk about, you so passionate about Jess Hilarious not being on this show and not being qualified, and you're around here speaking about this and can't even name the woman that you're trying to praise for being the talent.
She got the job and got knocked up shortly afterwards. And the worst thing in the world happened. They brought in somebody who was talented.
Who they bring in?
Homegirl from, she used to be on TMZ.
Yeah.
Oh.
She has experience with doing that. When she talks, her voice, I don't know her name.
Yeah.
The girl who is Lauren.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not making any sense. How are you praising this woman for being talented and you don't even know her name? See how men do? Like, because it's not even about Lauren being talented for him. It's about Lauren taking something from Jess Hilarious because he doesn't like Jess Hilarious. I mean, what he's saying, it is some truth to it, but we have to peel back the layers because it's heavily dipped in misogyny. There's no way you're praising this black woman and saying all these things about her and you don't even know her name. Come on, sister. Let's talk about it. You talking about she not qualified. How you being offered on the podcast talk about you don't even know this girl's name. The issue for me is, yeah, you are not qualified as a journalist to be able to read these things. You tried to sway it. You tried to make it work. Somebody came and they were more talented than you. And the fans recognize that because at the end of the day, our heart radio is interested in what is best for the overall Breakfast Club and what is bringing in viewers. And they're paying attention to the comments. They are paying attention to the comments. You might not be. Charlamagne might not be paying attention to the comments. DJ Envy might not be paying attention to the comments. But production and folks, they looking at the comments because the Breakfast Club has dipped a little bit. Y'all ain't going as viral as y'all usually do, considering the last post y'all had, or y'all have not been having such a heavy presence in the last couple of years, if we're being quite honest. Y'all have seen some dips since Angela Yee has left. Y'all been doing okay. Y'all been straddling since Jess Hilarious. But the fans were saying, hey, girl, this is why I don't watch. They were saying that while Jess was on there, before she had the maternity leave. Like, they were saying that. So, Jess, don't get it twisted. In this time, you knowing that homegirl is this and what is being required of you, people are telling you, hey, you are not doing a good job. Like, this is not giving. You never once took yourself serious because you said this was a syndicated show. You're loving it. You did not do the work, sister. You didn't pick up a book. You didn't start reading and start talking in front of the camera because, girl, doing videos and stuff on Instagram Live and TikTok and all that other Instagram Reels, yeah, that's some talent in itself because everybody can't do that. But now you're on a radio show. That stuff don't work. There's a reason why some folks who are popping on TikTok can't do a whole live stream and can't do long form content. Child, I'm gonna tell you, someone who's been doing long form content for a minute, I can't do short form. I talk too much, to be honest. You talk too much. You never shut up. Another transphobe. The irony. But yeah, like, girl, you didn't do the work. And we have to perfect. You have to pay attention to the comments. I have started to pick up books because I have a speech impediment. And this is what I want to do. I want to be able to have a more fuller vocabulary. I want to be able to speak to everyday people, but I want to improve the way I speak. So that's something I've been working on 10 years into this work because it never stops. And you did not do that. And I understand you have to do a little bit more work because Charlamagne and them ain't doing it. They're not expected to be able to know all of the information. Charlamagne and DJ Envy make it a known joke that they don't know what's going on. They know a little bit. When them men come on and they talk about their rap music, they know it. But when the women come on, I was like, oh, I would listen to it. You know, we was bopping to it. They're not really into it. They don't know a lot of the stuff. And Jess Hilarious, you thought that you were the same level. You are a woman, and they do not respect you in the same right. Even though you have some of the same ideologies, they don't see you as anything else other than a woman, period. And they didn't even respect you enough when you went on maternity leave. So that says a lot. Like, the people you've been kikiing with and laughing, like, ha, 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 while you out here, y'all agreeing on certain things, look how they abandoned you in this moment. Sister, like, that's your fault a little bit. Like, you got to take ownership for that. And you basically bullied Lauren. If we're being completely honest, there were several times where you were not a fan of her. We knew it. We knew that she was getting under your skin. And she wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, you're telling this girl, I picked her. I knew she was fun for the job. You are trying to little girl this grown woman, and she was not taking the bait. She told you, hey, girl, I'm seeing the comments. It sounded like she tried to have a conversation with you. You're praising this girl, but in the same time, I picked you. I saw you. No, girl, she was talented. Like, you don't own nobody because you gave somebody the opportunity, the nerve of you. That's why she had to remind you and say, hey, girl, as a producer, I want to make sure my talent is okay. And what you ain't even catch it because you ain't no a journalist a blogger. We're at your Jocelyn, like a blogger. Same, like she ate you up and you didn't even catch it. You didn't even catch the shade. Like, you didn't even catch it. Like homegirl ate you up in that moment. And I can tell Lauren was doing her work. She takes this serious and she did not want it to get to this level. And how you acted in that live stream as a grown woman, how you acted in that live stream was unbecoming. Like it was giving gutter snipe. You should have took that to them. And I understand sometimes you got to take stuff to the streets and talk about it publicly because folks be playing in your face because of all the society structures and things. I definitely get that. Maybe you did not know what you were getting into. And I feel like that needs to be a conversation too. Maybe you did not. But something is telling me in my spirit that you knew what you were getting into, but you didn't think it was going to come back to bite you. And she did. She did. And we're seeing it. So, watching her get frustrated and talk about these things, and you can tell she's emotional. You just see no regard from Charlamagne, and DJ Envy is trying to clean up. It's bad. It's just bad. And I watched all of it. I watched her live stream, just seeing how she was emotional. This is something that's been bothering her. But I'm also looking at how Lauren was feeling because it seemed like Lauren has always been genuine. Jess, you have never been genuine to this girl. We ain't got to be friends. We got to be that. Like, you are making a point that I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be friends with you. And this, y'all whole thing is having a cohesive project together. So I don't expect y'all to be kikiing and laughing and being friends every time y'all get off of work. But the fact that y'all do not want to, I'm not sure how that works. Like, y'all want to keep it professional and say, well, we work together when we're working, but y'all bring it all the mess. Nothing about this is professional. Because if it was professional, it would have never been brought to us. Y'all should have handled this offline, but y'all took it and they exploited your pain for a coin. And I hope it was worth it for you. It probably wasn't. They exploited your pain. They exploited your pain and also Lauren's pain as well. And Charlamagne laughed in the process. These are the folks who are your co-workers. Yes, they did not come out here to defend you. Yes, they could have spoke up and said something. And you have every right to call it out. Like, they did not want to get involved in that. But girl, the way you have been so adamant and defending men who have done some of the most vile, disgusting things, like, you are an apologist. Like, I honestly really don't even care, to be honest. And I hate to say that, but it's just so ironic watching how you have did everything in your power with this platform to defend some of the worst men. And in this little bit of ask of you, asking your coworkers to defend you against things happening, they could not do it. What does that say? That you have sacrificed so much and gotten so little. That's all I got. Those are my full thoughts, child. I might do another video about this on Patreon, child, because I got a lot of other things to say, but we're going to see about how this mess plays out. But if you can, support the channel by liking this video. I should have said this in the beginning, but like this video if you can, comment. If you cannot, subscribe to Patreon, but if you can, support me on patreon.com/KingAreese. And until next time, talk y'all later. Bye.